The Kevin Durant saga is now officially over as he has been traded to the Houston Rockets. Now, I came on here talking last week saying that it looks like he's going to go to the Spurs. They had very good odds at one point, even minus 350 at one point to land him, which is a pretty high percentage. And then everything changed. A lot of other teams entered the deal, and once KD said that he had a few preferred destinations, it seems like the Rockets gave them the best package back. So let's take a look to see what this Rockets team is going to look like next year, as they should be able to contend in the West, as they just got even better coming off of a season where they were the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. Now, like I said, KD had a few preferred destinations, and Houston was one of them. Compared to the other spots, it looks like the Suns gave them the best return out of the 3 options that he gave them. I guess we'll find out what the official trade packages were later at some point. It seems like we always do, but it seems like this Rockets team has only got better. There are still a few questions that surround this team, though. When we look at this Rockets depth chart right now, it is a little lacking in the guard department, obviously, after they just traded Jalen Green. But now, without Dylan Brooks at the small forward position, does Amen Thompson become the full-time starting small forward, or does he get moved down to the 2? He can play the 2. I mean, other guys on this team like Fred VanVleet, I don't think they're going to have enough money to retain him, which if he does go, then that could potentially open up a few more spots for this team because they are loaded from the forward and the center positions right now. I mean, that team is going to look good right now. Alperen Sengun and Steven Adams locking down the center. The power forwards right now, I guess it depends on where KD plays. Hypothetically, if he played this power forward, you would have him, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. So a few options there. At small forward, you have guys like Amen Thompson, Jayshawn Tate, Cam Whitmore. Also, guys in Jabari and Tari Eason can move up or down. Obviously, they could play the 3 if needed. And then the point guard spot, like I said before, without Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green on this team, they only have 4 guards. I mean, you have guys like Aaron Holiday and Reed Sheppard. Maybe Reed Sheppard finally gets his chance this year, as he only played 654 minutes last season. If we compare that to a guy like Jalen Green, he played 2,700 minutes. So yeah, Reed Sheppard didn't really get in that often, but this could be his potential time to step up. Another guy in Cam Whitmore, his opportunity to step up. You know, he didn't see very many minutes last year either, but at 6'7", that gives him the opportunity to play the small forward, maybe power forward if they're playing a little bit of a smaller lineup, which we know they do. Sengun, not the traditional center that we see in the NBA right now, at only 6'11". He's able to pass, though. He's more of that Jokic type that we see, you know, last season putting up 19, 10, and 5, but getting some great triple doubles throughout that season as well, doing good in the playoffs, and he's able to pass the ball very, very well. So this team, I do not think is over. I do not think this team is going to stop making trades. I think either Jabari Smith or Tari Eason are on the move next, especially with a loaded power forward and small forward spot right now. I think one of those guys is going to be on the move, especially making room for KD, because hypothetically, this starting lineup definitely needs some work in that guard rotation area. And I think with the money that they have right now, especially if, you know, a guy in Fred VanVleet is gone, they will save a lot of money and able to go out and get a guy at that point guard or shooting guard area, because it's not like they just need to go fill up that position with some lower level guys. You do need to go out there, and with a guy like Jabari Smith, you could go and trade him for a decent asset. I think if I was the Rockets, I would rather keep Tari Eason than Jabari Smith right now. You know, Jabari Smith, I think, still has pretty decent trade value right now, and we've seen some pretty crazy trades in the NBA recently. Tari Eason, 2 years older, so maybe they would lean to keep Jabari Smith, but I think Jabari Smith right now, being 2 years younger, would kind of help, and that would get them a little more trade value. Both of them were on the same all-rookie team in 2022-2023, so I think maybe getting rid of Jabari Smith, who has had a pretty good career so far, you know, averaging pretty consistently every year. His career average is almost the same exact as his averages last season as well, around 13 points, 7.5 rebounds, and an assist per game. I just think it would be better for Tari Eason to be on this team going forward, but either one I think they could get decent value back for in the future whenever that does happen, because I do not think this team is done. The fit with KD, though, I think this works very well for them. It is going to be a little interesting. Obviously, Kevin Durant is listed at whatever they list him at nowadays. I mean, whether it's he was listed at 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", we know that he's around 7 feet tall. So if he's the same height as Sengun, it would be interesting. Obviously, he's not going to play the center, but as we know, a guy in KD who's able to go out there and get buckets every single night, I think this is a great fit for the Rockets, because that was the main thing that people were talking about going into the playoffs. Yes, they had guys that could go out there and get buckets throughout the regular season, a guy like Sengun, a guy like Jalen Green, but Jalen Green had some games where he could do absolutely nothing, and this team would suffer a little bit, but they had so many guys that could get over 10 points per game that they were able to fill those gaps every single night. Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, Dylan Brooks, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet all averaged over 10 points last game, which led the NBA in most players who average more than 10 points per game, but they didn't really have that superstar level player. Jalen Green was putting up 21 points per game, but there were so many question marks around him as well. People weren't sure if he was just getting that because he didn't have great efficiency, or he was just going out there and getting those because he was the guy on the team that was putting up a lot of shots. Considering a guy like Amen Thompson, he doesn't shoot as much. He's not as much of a, he's definitely not known as a shooter. He's a great defensive weapon, and he's able to get to the rim, but we're not going to see Amen Thompson go and put 5 or 10 threes up a game like you would with Jalen Green. And Sengun has been great as well, but his ability to pass, he doesn't always need to score. But I think that definitely helps this team getting a guy like KD. He's going to go in there and be the number one scoring option, I think, especially with Jalen Green gone, and that will help this team. A lot of great young players still on this team. They got rid of their older guy in Dylan Brooks as well. Jalen Green was younger, obviously, but if they lose Fred VanVleet, this is a very, very young core, and I think this team will be good. And also getting rid of a guy like Jalen Green will hurt them a little bit, but I still am glad that they kept that core of a guy like Alperen Sengun and Amen Thompson. I think those are the two guys going forward that I think this team is going to look at and could easily build around them, and KD didn't really set them back that far. I mean, when we look at this trade, 5 second-round picks isn't going to do too much. The 10th pick in this year's draft could be good, a hit or miss around that area. Usually we know the top 5 picks are usually pretty good in the NBA, but we've had some years where there have been some misses. The first round in the NBA draft is very, very interesting because some of these players are really good coming out of college, but with the 10th overall pick, you are giving up a pretty big asset there, but I don't think it sets them back too far when you're getting a guy like Kevin Durant, who should be around for a few years. I mean, he's 36, but as we know, a guy like him, I think he's going to be able to play throughout the next however many years, 2-3 years. He's going to be there for 1 year. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens after that if he re-signs, but if not, then I would be very shocked. But I do think that he probably talked to them and told them that he would like to re-sign, but who knows? Maybe not, because trading up those many assets with a guy like Jalen Green, and especially the first round pick this year, does make it a little interesting. But I think this Rockets team is going to be a great contender going forward this season and in the future. Even after KD's gone, I think they have some great pieces as well. But I would not be shocked if they're a top 3 seed in the West again this year, and I think that's probably the expectations. So let me know down below what you guys think of this trade. Do you think that the Suns won, or do you think the Rockets won? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.